Okay, this should finally work. My name's Simon. I'm currently running a Dungeons and Dragons game in D&D 5e, in the Forgotten Realms area. And I thought I'd just do some live streams every time I start preparing for the next week. We play every Saturday night, so it's halfway through the week and time to start getting things ready for the next game. I thought I'd start on this page because this is actually a really cool reference tool for everything you need. You can just click on them. Gives you good loot generators and stuff. This thing, you click on them, a whole bunch of different creatures, gives you all the details. It's just something quick that you can look up, especially if you're playing online like we are. It's much easier to do that than it is to flick through a book or something like that. And being able to sort by type and name and stuff like that is pretty useful. And even just this as well. Like currently, the players are getting beset by devils, so I can just scroll down to devils. Dragon. There are none. Here you go. They're under fiends. Yeah, so I can just scroll down, look through some of the devils, something with a certain challenge rating, and choose it, or add challenge ratings up and choose those. Like last game, they fought where is it? Bone Devil. They're all 5th level, so 9 in a challenge rating isn't that high. But it was a good short encounter just to get them to expend some spells, get them to be caught off guard a bit. It hooked one of them and flew up into the air, and then they had to. One of the warlock had to cast fly on the fighter, and he flew up and started battling it in the air while it was hooked onto the cleric, which subsequently got dropped. And this is the sort of stuff you can do. It makes it much quicker than looking through the books and stuff like that. And anyway, then I got my spells. There's a list of spells on this one. I find this one really useful as well. This is 5e.tools, and this is D&D 5e.info. Super useful stuff. There's also the Forgotten Realms wiki. I use this all the time when I'm looking at new areas of the map, to get a rough idea of what the history is there, and then I just add my stuff on top, which makes it much easier and much quicker. So currently they're in Waterdeep. This is another tool that I use online. I believe this is a fan-generated site. Basically, you can add little points onto your thing. Modify, add mark. You can. They've got a few others as well, but currently we're in Waterdeep. This is where the campaign has started, and yeah, each one of these dots is a place, and you can click on them. I think some of these have actual information that you can flesh out. Others, if I can find one, yeah, like that. Just a noble villa. Doesn't have much information. So if you want to use that area, you can then flesh that area out. And I clicked on Thunderstar Villa because that's where the players actually are. They're currently walking into this place. They've been tasked by the mage at Blackstaff Tower, who in my game is called Jadis. He's asked them to come into this villa, which is this whole area here. It's like a walled villa. Come in there, and try and defuse one of these hell gates that have been popping up throughout the city. Currently, one has been successfully set off by the devils, and that was in this place here. Uh, it's covering an area like this, melted through the tower, melted through all this, and actually subsequently set fire to practically the whole of the field ward. So for those who know about the field ward, I mean, it's basically a slum shanty town that was built up there from caravanners and things like that over the past 100 years of history in Waterdeep. But in my campaign, it is no more. So there's currently a rift here. The characters have personally gone up there and had a look at it. There are all sorts of they're devils, all sorts of devils coming out of this rift. And they've basically forced themselves into this area. The people of Waterdeep have formed a barricade along here. Well, I should say the army. They've shipped in a bunch of war machines and formed a siege tower line along here. Those siege towers are basically acting as a secondary wall to this one, which, as I've said, has already been breached and is currently being invaded through here. The people of Waterdeep have been forced out of the city at this stage in the campaign. I mean, the earlier stages, they were living here and going on adventures throughout the city. But now all the people of Waterdeep have had to escape down to Daggerford or across into the forest and stuff like that. The only people left in the city, besides a few stubborn stragglers, are the city watch and the guards. I guess I can go through this a little more. Basically, now that they realize that there's this rift, and the players came across another rift before they met Jadis down here in this sector, with a demon called Amara, and Amara was setting up another rift down here. And ultimately the goal of the demons is to create enough of these rifts in this area to create a giant hell pit and just have a direct connection to the plane. These little rifts can be closed through magical means. Haven't quite worked out how yet, but there will be some sort of mechanism. But the idea is that once they get enough of these in here, this whole area will just sort of fall in, and there'll just be this huge gaping pit spewing forth demons, and you could look in and see the other plane of existence bumping up against it. And it actually extends a bit out like this. So they stopped one. They didn't manage to stop this one. They managed to kill the devil in charge, but they saw the altars, they saw the stuff, but they didn't manage to solve the secret there. And so were just oblivious and left. Which left this to fester and eventually grow into a rift. Now they're currently been tasked by Jadis, now that they've got the sort of idea of what's actually happening, Jadis has organized a group of adventurers, so there's quite a few parties. All of them NPCs, obviously, except for mine. Um, to go search various sectors of the city for these rifts and try and find them. Um, this section here is where the players are searching at the moment, and they've found a section here that they believe has a rift in it. They've been using detect magic all through the streets, like casting it whenever they get suspicious or find something unusual. It's allowed them to find a cool magic item or two, but mostly it's just they've been trying to locate these altars. They found one here, and now I've got to set up the adventure for this Saturday and get it organized. We've got to set up like a realistic building and some sort of underground, either natural cavern that links to Undermountain, or some sort of cellar that contains an altar, demonic altar. The way they're opening these rifts is by getting enough people who are addicted to this drug, Chimera, which ultimately takes over their bodies, and they start to meld together. Anyone that takes Chimera, if they take enough of it, after a while they start melding together with other people that are on the same drug, and they form these hideous monsters of like melted people, basically. Once there's a sufficient number of them in one area, and there's the altar and the rituals performed, these people just melt into the ground and physically melt the ground into magma, and then they provide enough magical energy and heat energy to form the rift, along with the altar and the demon doing the ceremony. So this one, I haven't quite worked out what the demon's going to be and what the protagonist is. I've got this map here. By the way, this is Roll20. Awesome place to do gaming. I've got all my maps here that I've been using to create all this. And while it's a little clunky, it actually is pretty cool, like to go through. Like, I'll show you, this is the players, what they've been looking at. Currently they're there, as you can see. I've been showing them. This is like the walls. There's like these two circular castle turrets sticking up with a flat wall with the door that they entered. There's a few slit windows in there and stuff, and then there's a wall going around the manor proper. What they're going to find, similar to, I'm hoping to find something like this. This was the last demon encounter. So ignore the drawings. They got thoroughly destroyed by one of the moving statues. For those who don't know, there's these giant statues that protect Waterdeep in times of trouble, like the Sword Maiden, and I believe there's one more down here, the God Catcher. Now, a couple of these have come to life at the moment and are currently up here, fighting off the demons and trying to hold them back. And the Sword Maiden was activated when it felt the presence of these demons in this compound here, which I correlated to this building. Um, and they had a bit of a scrap here where they were trying to get away. But see, this is like the bottom floor. Um, like someone's made this and it's just awesome. This is like a second floor. Um, and then it even has a third floor. This is where they hacked their way to freedom, and got out the back door while surrounded by tiny little demon bats, and the sword maiden on the outside's trying to smash into the building, trying to kill these little demons. Um, had a cellar. It's even got the guest house. I don't need something that detailed, but it would be nice to find a map that matches something like that. Which brings me to where I actually look for them. So for this one, I found it a while ago, but I'm thinking this can be the cellar. It's got some cool dynamic lighting and stuff. I have no ability to make maps, so it'd be nice if this was red because it would fit the theme. And I could say this is like the goo that it was all these humans that were on Chimera. But currently, what we're gonna do. Well, first thing I'm gonna do is just expand this a bit. It's got good enough resolution that we can probably expand it all the way down. Doesn't look too stretched out. Let's sync this down to the map layer so it's not doesn't think it's a player character. I generally turn the grids off on this because a lot of the maps that I use, okay, there you go. See, it's already got stone tiles, so it's close enough to the the 5 feet per tile or whatever. So I'll have them come down here. This will be the entrance. This will be the actual cellar, and then this will be a secret entrance, which then they will break into this area, and there'll be some demons here, I think, and then there'll be some demons on the other side, and yeah, so that's the plan. Otherwise, I guess they could come down here, cross over this, and this could be where the rift is. That might make a bit more sense. Anyway, I'm a bit further than that. I'm a bit far away from that at the moment. First thing to do is let's look at some assets. So this is the Trove. Has a lot of stuff on it. People just post maps and buildings and stuff like that up on here. They're great to use. So I wanted to go through some of these. Yawning Portal, no, I want just some sort of building. Let's see what some of these are. No, let's say I want to open it in new. It's going to make me open them. See, stuff like this is awesome. This is probably a bit big for what I need. This is an abattoir, I guess, so it's not quite what I need. And that's people labeled stuff. Oops. This is a drawing of castle. See, that's cool, but it's probably a bit grandiose for what I need. Um, I'm just skipping through these, don't worry. Toll House. That's a cool little map. I don't need that. Safe house. So this is probably what? Hang on. What? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No. What? Oh. Sorry. I was told that there was no sound, but I think there is. There's definitely sound. There is sound. Okay, let's go back to looking at some. See, this is quite cool. It's a little simple for what I'm looking at, but that's basically the idea. So you want like some sort of spell-like stuff at the bottom. Simple laid out building, but we are in a manor, so we're looking for something a bit more cooler. That's a tavern. No. Oh, that's cool for an underground getaway if they can get through here. So I really like. My favorite thing about making these things is just to create as much branching paths as possible, because I don't feel like D&D should be terribly linear, as I think that's one of its greatest strengths, is its ability to just branch off into any direction. It's that feeling of like when you're in a computer game and you see something that you want to go do, but sorry, the guys didn't plan for that, so you don't get to see it. This is that sort of thing. Just going through these, trying to find something that might be. Oh, that's cool. It's like a little monk's place, or like a place of worship. Oh, it's the same one. But yeah, I find that the most satisfying thing about Dungeons and Dragons, besides the actual camaraderie of playing with friends and things like that. But I really think that's cool. It's like big statues. And I can't use it too much though. Actually, I might be able to. So they come in here. Large doors, they've broken those down. Here's the hallway leading upstairs. Leading into some courtyards. In and out. In the main hall is a huge dwarven statue leading to these rooms that leads downstairs. The rooms themselves are a little odd. we can make this one. We can definitely. I definitely like that one. That's even cooler. On the back of a giant beast. Huge tavern and bedroom section. That is cool. No, I've lost it because it doesn't have a name. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I think if we copy that image and then take it down to paint, paste it. Yes, I'm using paint. Crop it for good measure. File, save as. Let's go into where's Z drive? Maps. Or small beginnings, and then we'll go into the actual maps. As you can see, it's a little messy, but I guess I should make a new folder because this is a new encounter. So this is what I've been starting to do. No, not that. Every time we have a new section where we're at, we'll probably be at for a while. So we're going to call this Thunderstaff Manor. Haspel Manor. Manor. No, that's not Haspel Manor either. Let's cheat and look it up. Oh, it's a villa anyway. Let's just change it to villa. Okay, Thunderstaff Villa. So everything that I'm going to use in here, in this encounter, is what I'm going to put in here. So this is going to be the villa, first floor, or ground floor. Save. Actually, might go into that right now while I'm looking at it, because there's a few other things like this Bone Devil. This was in that, so put that in there. I've collected a few other maps that I don't know if I'll use or anything, but they were too cool to not take them. And this is definitely getting added sometime. Check this out. Someone made that, and I saw the picture and I was like, that is an awesome D&D creature. So it's going to be like, this is completely off topic, when they go adventuring out into the wilderness, there'll be a tribe of these guys. They'll be like the proto-centaurs, like the centaurs before the men and the horses. They were gorillas and elephants. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to looking up villas. So we've got a ground floor. Now I want to find a basement. No. Everyone wants to draw taverns, but no one wants to draw just basic buildings. And as I said that, there's another tavern. Okay, so now we're looking for some sort of basement. See, that's quite cool. This will probably have some sort of connection to somewhere in Forgotten Realms. Don't need that one though. Just a textured lava field. But again, see, this is the sort of thing. Like, what if this is what they find underneath? After, not before, but after they get into I don't know. Might be a bit too much. This is like some cool lava tubes with some lava spewing out of them, and that's the sort of thing that I want to show them. Is this like there's this like build up of heat in this area that's going to create this this rift. Anyway, look, we'll keep looking. Keep that one in mind. Actually, you know what? I might just keep it just for later, just in case. Because you never know. Crop. Save as. Lava field. Possible basement, like under the basement. Like, this is like the idea is that they in the house they find the basement, they fight their way through the basement, and then they get to this actual rift, and they're just like, whoa. That's the idea, anyway. How's the live stream going? Wow, we got 2 people watching. Hello, whoever you are. I just assumed I was talking to myself, so. Let's keep looking through here. It's a feasting hall, nothing I really want. Abandoned waste stations. Abandoned cottage. Now what I'm really looking for is a lower cellar. Like we're looking for a cellar. Hellhound caves. That sounds cool. Yeah, it's not that cool. What are these ones? It's a cool tower, but don't need a lighthouse tower right now. Nice little building. Oh, that's a tavern. Didn't mean to click on that. Okay, so those look like they go down to taverns. I mean, we can. Let's just look at some of these temples, because you know, if you go underground, it is going to be a temple under there. So, but more of a demonic temple than any of, I imagine, these will be. As I said, that is a giant pentagram. But we want it sort of. Let's have a look at the temples of traps. So this is quite cool. Can make. I do have a bunch of assets on Roll20, like cupboards and stuff like that, that I can sort of add on to make it into a Caverns of Fell Madness. It doesn't look too fell or mad. Stairs, corridor, floor. Let's have a look at the floor. That's just a basic floor. I love the patterning on it though. That looks really cool. Almost gives you like some sort of demonic outline. I mean, that one is cool. Underground Sanctum. So this is almost what we want. I keep saying almost because I could fit it into this, like I could force the game into this, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. Um, the idea, what ultimately I want is for the characters to be fighting their way down. So they're gonna they've come into this room. They're gonna explore. The building's going to be completely empty. They might find some treasure if they're lucky. I've placed some treasure in some of the areas in my mind. But the hello, darling. Uh, so the idea is that it's going to be very desolate above, but once they start going down into the cavern, into the cellar, that's where they're going to get attacked almost immediately upon entry, and they'll search. They won't find the altar here. If they cast detect magic again, it'll be below them even further, and they'll have to go down again, and that's where they'll find that lava cavern, and with the demonic altar sitting there, and the floor just melting away below them, and they'll have to try and work out how to stop that. Um, no, that's too detailed. Witch hunter level. No, we don't want. No, no, we really need. Let's look at. Maybe they have a wizard shop. That's cool. It's always hard to make one of these. It's good to see layouts that other people have that you wouldn't think of. Ruined interior map. Let's just look at these ones. Meeting hall. I mean, back when I was playing in the 90s, it would be, you just draw your own little pen and ink drawings. But nowadays you can get pretty detailed maps. Let's try dungeons. Because a cellar is almost a dungeon, if that makes sense. It's just like a large dungeon without the maggot pit. It's just like a large dungeon without the walls. See, something like this could be the dungeon. I mean, could be the cellar. Bit too detailed. Kind of want just a couple of rooms down here. It's a little too natural. I do want something that looks like it's been made. So it's because the demons have, what they've done is they've slowly infiltrated society at the upper levels and replaced key figures in the city with imposters, demonic imposters, and the idea is the players are finding these randomly across the city, and they're just using normal buildings. So like this would be okay, but unfortunately a lot of the walls look broken, and what I really want is just like a normal looking cellar that leads down into something scarier. Let's have a look here. People have some cool maps though. maybe that's not the right way to go. Let's go back to the parent directory and look at caves. No, towers. Towers might approximate. Let's have a look at this. Whoa. Don't think we can use that. Too small. Yeah, if we can get a smaller one, I mean, ultimately I could use just like I'm assuming those are like video versions of stuff. That's a crazy tile pattern. Yeah. Okay. Go back to urban. Maybe battle maps. Let's try rural. Desert for it now. See, that's going to be let's try city based, because maybe we can get some sort of oh, I got water deep. Cool. Sewers. Okay, that's a bit crazy. I mean, it's cool, but not what I'm looking for. Map. Well, that's just the whole of Waterdeep. Don't need those ones. Okay, these just are pictures of Waterdeep, which is not what I want. Yeah, no, this is the wrong area as well. But anyway, let's stop doing this, because I can always find that a bit later next time. Let's find the devil they're gonna fight. What is this thing? Devil sight, magic with darkness doesn't impede it, and his infinite spellcasting abilities, intelligence, spell save. Cast the following spells: charm person, command, dominate person. Whoa. Oh, that's cool. Fireball. Dang. Feeble Might. He's got an 8th level spell. Attempted to shatter its intelligence. Target takes 46 psychic damage, intelligence saving throw. I failed to say the treated intelligence is going 1. The creature can't say, cast spells, activate magic items, understand language, communicate in any intelligent way. The creature can identify as friends, follow them, and even protect them. That's pretty cool. But
Amnitsu.
Amnitsu. It might be a little hard. See, a lot of these I think are these guys are like the main bosses. So let's look at some small devils. We've already had one of those. I mean, this thing just looks so ridiculous. But these would make great sort of mid-level small demons to fight as they get in. Because from what I understand of combat encounter building, it's always good to have a mixture of things that they have to look at, and also have a mixture of options that they have to attack. If you just plonk a big guy in a room, just this, because it's turn based. Um, the big guy gets one turn, then everyone goes. Then the big guy gets one turn, and everyone goes. It's much better to have small creatures that can fight and chip away at the player characters to make it feel a lot more dangerous and a lot more scary than it is. Like that thing looks cool. So non-magical attacks, acid, fire, poison. Okay, magic resistance, advantage, saving throws against spells and other magical effects. So that's cool. Their weapon attacks are magical, and while in dim light or darkness, can take the hide action as a bonus action. See, that's cool. One with its bite, scimitar. So he's not doing too much damage. Like it's only doing like, what is that, 4 to 9. Its bite's doing 4 to 13. Oh, plus 2d8. Oh, that's cool. Cast darkness at a point within defeated, requiring no components, wisdom, and spell casting ability for the spell. While its purposes, I can move the area of darkness up to 60 feet as a bonus action. So this is an interesting little creature. It's not super tough, but if you get 2 of these guarding the front of the area, and you place the main guy behind, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so I'll just make that clear. So I'm gonna have 2 of these guys guarding the cellar, so they're going to be in the cellar, and the main bad guy, who in our campaign is the alchemist, for this section anyway. This will be their very first sighting of the alchemist. They'll see him. They might be able to get a few reactions off, depending on how their initiative goes. But as soon as these guys go, they're going to cast magical darkness, this creeping darkness here, and I believe it's prison point. Choose creatures with dark vision can't see through the darkness, and non-magical light can't illuminate. So it's just going to be this black void will form. The alchemist will disappear downstairs, and these guys will be left to fight there and slow down the player characters enough so they can't get it. So we'll have like some sort of a brief encounter with the main bad guy, who is visiting this area, and then we'll look for something maybe in the 12. What is this one? Spellcasting abilities: alter self, darkness, heat metal, visibility, magic missile. No, we don't want just a muscly thing that you want to fight. Like that alien looking creature. It kind of looks like a cucumber though. You can initially cast spells: alter self, clairvoyance, darkness. How many hit points does it have? 150. Can't be charmed, frightened, or poisoned. Let's see, within 30 feet of the creature you choose and some of 3 or lower, it doesn't speak any language. Creature, something initially land surface thoughts of what's most on its mind. Yeah, we don't need that. Dispel magic, invisibility, suggestion. Dimension door. Wow. Okay. Okay. So, in this sense, what I'll do is I'll have them fight these creatures at the top. As they get down, there'll be a dimension door. This creature and the alchemist will zip through a dimension door as they run down, so it'll close up, and then we'll find a big bad for them to fight. Like this sort of guy. Yeah, this guy will be great. Strong, high constitution, quite intelligent. Man, this thing's tough. See, it's resistant to a whole bunch of stuff. So, for those who don't know what resistance is, it means that it takes half damage from these things, and it takes no damage from these, and it can't be poisoned, if that makes sense. So, this is going to be quite a challenge for them, which is good because that's the sort of thing I want. 147 hit points. So like with the damage resistance, like if V, the spellcaster of the group, or any of the other group casts fire or lightning spells, like shocking grasp, things like that, cold based spells, these will only give them half damage, so it has an effective hit points of much higher than this. Most of them have magic items by now. Magic weapons, I mean. And it can cast lightning bolt, which is awesome. 3 times a day. For 8d6. So, like, just firing off a lightning bolt to start the campaign, start the fight, will be awesome, because there will be immediately someone will be either down or struggling, and they'll have to then try and keep that guy alive, and I'll be able to do a couple lightning bolts extra if I feel that the characters are winning too quickly. He'll then like line up a good shot, and he can always go invisible. Spell magic's awesome as well. Detect magic, darkness. See, this is quite good. This works quite well with the other ones. What's it called?
Yagnoloth.
Yagnoloth. So, yeah, this will be our big bad for them to fight. It's got quite a few cool fights, like abilities and stuff like that. So it makes 1 massive arm attack. Massive arm. And 1 electrified touch attack. Or it makes 1 massive arm attack and teleports before or after the attack. Okay, this is cool. +8 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target, hit 27, 68 lightning damage. Every round? Okay, maybe this is a bit too tough for everyone. Yeah, this is... Yeah, well... Okay, he's got a massive arm and a lightning arm. Okay, I get it. Okay, yeah, this thing's tough. Okay, let's try something a little further down the scale. What about something like this? Darkness, spell magic, invisibility, mirror image. Okay. 2 melee attacks, makes 1 melee attack and teleports. Okay, so this is like a slightly weaker version of the other one, which is good. It's one of the Loths. So these are sort of like in an order, 9, 11, 12, 13. Okay, cool. And the Mesoloth is probably the tiny one. Oh, there's quite a few Loths of different. What are these little guys? So we can have a couple of these guys just trying to Relics can magically teleport along with any equipment weighing carrying up to 6 feet. Fear gaze once and makes an awe attack. It's got an awe. Fear gaze, the mirror and Loloth. No, because it's more of a sea-based creature. Mesoloth. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this guy. This guy is our guy. Yeah, he's got slightly less hit points. He can fly, which is going to make it much harder. So we're going to go into a cavern. He'll be able to fly up in the sky and fly down and attack people. He'll be able to cast magical darkness as well. And he can teleport. Allows him to summon other Yugoloths. See, so this is like if the characters are winning like crazy, you can then just bung this in at the end. He doesn't do too much damage, and he's got some resistances to fire and lightning and cold, which means that they can't hurt him too much. So we're going to use this guy. Can I make it smaller? Okay. It'd be nice to be able to just get a. I don't want to go to page. It's already open. Let's. Yeah, these are cool. So what I would like to do is get a snapshot of this whole thing. So I can use it. I might just open this as a pop out, and we'll just leave it here. So we're going to have one of these guys, and then what was the other ones I was saying? So these guys, yeah. So these guys going to be, there's going to be 2 of these and 1 of these for them to fight, basically. So that should create a quite a difficult encounter for them. I gave them an ominous warning last game, just saying the adventure's about to get serious. This is we've been playing up until now, but be warned, if you make a mistake, you're going to get killed. So these guys are going to be the elite guards, and this is going to be one of the personal bodyguards of the alchemist. Now we are also, where's that weird looking thing that I should have saved? Demons, yeah. Actually, I want to get this thing out as well. Let's pop that one out. Those are 2 things that we're going to be fighting. Where is he? It's the cucumber. That's what they fought last time. Oh no, that's not the one. They fought the Bone Devil. I still. What have I done? Somewhere around here. Ah, here we go. Euroloth. And this is going to be one of the alchemist's spellcasters, basically. But he's not actually going to take part in this. This is the one that's going to be helping the alchemist create this portal. And the player characters have to try and stop that. I'm going to give them a reasonable chance of stopping it. I don't see why not. Maybe I will just keep this map. So this will be so this will be the cellar, but it's been altered now. So here's the cellar. You can see below. So this green doesn't really match. I don't really like this green. But the idea is that I want them to go into a cellar, fight those two, the blackguard ones. Where are they? Yeah, these Blackabashi, Abishai. Could have just read it, but could listen to it. Anyway, I want them to fight these. They're gonna cast darkness and hold the way as the alchemist and runs down to his friend into the lava area. The Euroloth will be waiting to fight them, and these guys will be no, the Euroloth will run away, and the Nikoloth will be there to fight them. That should make a pretty good adventure. That'll be one session. We'll see how they get out of it, or whether they can actually beat them. I think that's pretty good. 4 5th level characters should be able to beat them with. They've got some good magical items, not amazing, but I'm very generous with magical items, and here's a tip for DMs that haven't really DM'd very much. Just be generous with gold and magic items. Don't be stingy. You may feel like, oh, but if I give too many out, they'll get too powerful too quickly or whatever. But D&D is vast. You can always make homebrew cool stuff. Like I've made most of the magic items I give out are homebrew. So, like Prince has a small hand axe that gives him an extra attack, but just he gets one extra attack action at the end. So it's almost like having haste, but just on attacks. You don't get the movement. V, he hasn't really picked up many magic items. Esmeralda, she has Heart Piercer, which is a rapier that deals an extra. It deals triple damage on criticals. And Drut, he's picked up some mithril armor. He's got a blessed hammer from his god, Grud, who is again a made up god of the hills. So yeah, I think this will be quite difficult for them, but I also think like especially this, the 18 armor class, that's going to be freaking them out. But it's awesome because this is going to make them really fight. And I want there to be a legitimate chance of failure and them have to scramble out. And then the result of that is another rift forming in this area. So if they fail, this whole area will become a rift around this house. And slowly, if there's enough of these, I haven't really decided how many yet, but like once they've regrouped, once they've finished this, and run back to Blackstaff Tower, reported to Jadis, who is the mage that's living there. He'll then have collected all the data from all the other groups, and I'll be able to tell them, okay, there's now 3 rifts open. He's going to send them out to have a look at them. We can see that there's like cracks forming in between the rifts, and they seem to be joining up to form bigger rifts. And that's the idea. I want this sense of like urgency around this, and a feeling of unstoppability of the demons. But ultimately, I want there to be a way to close the rifts, and the first thing they have to do is defeat the alchemist, which will not be easy, because they may have to actually go into hell to fight them. I haven't decided yet, but one thing I want them to do is once all the rifts are either opened or closed, depending on how many there are. Well, I mean, they're going to do this anyway. This is one of my plans. Is that I want these guys, the great statues. Jadis is going to give each character a circlet, and the characters are going to go inside these giant statues and embody them for a while they either fight off the larger demons that are coming through, or so as vehicles to jump down into hell, make their way through limbo, and destroy the actual source of the rifts, which will be this portal that the alchemist is maintaining. And that's where they're probably going to fight the alchemist. But if they manage to close enough of these down, it'll force the alchemist up onto the surface, where he'll be a lot weaker. And they'll be able to use these huge statues to fight, which ultimately the alchemist and his band of super powerful dudes will be able to destroy. But once those large statues are destroyed, the player character should be enough to finish whatever's left. That's the idea, is that there's this sort of layers to both sides, where one layer defeats the other layer, and then that layer falls, and then you get down to the heroes and the villain, and that's where the ultimate battle takes place. It's a very common theme in movies, but that's what I want to show. Well, anyway, that's been my first live stream. I think I've got a good idea of what we're doing. And yeah, I'll see you next time.